Hey guys and girls, welcome to my second E3 video today. Today I'm going to talk about the PlayStation 4 conference, which came out on the first day as well in the evening after Microsoft. So I'm going to talk about Sony today and what I thought of the conference. And you can already tell that my energy is really high right now because I am so excited and I'm really psyched for the new PlayStation 4, which I'm super surprised about. Did not see that coming. So anyway, I'm going to go through and give you just a couple of my thoughts on the PlayStation conference and what I think about the new console, and and maybe compare a little bit to the Xbox One. So let's get started straight away. So as expected, Sony in this conference came out guns blazing completely, and they owned the day, in my opinion. In this conference there were so many games that they were talking about, and in the actual on the actual conference they actually revealed, I think, 12 brand new IPs. So I'm just going to go through very quickly and just to give you a list of the IPs that they did talk about and they did show. So they showed a new really cool one called The Order 1886, which is kind of like an alternative reality. It looked steampunkish. It looked really cool. And they obviously showed more video gameplay footage, great, of the new Killzone Shadowfall game, which looked really good, and that game's going to be released when the PlayStation 4 comes out, so that'll be available on the day of release, they did say. And they showed, of course, driving game, Drive Club. They showed a new game called Infamous Second Son, which looked kind of really cool and fun to play. They showed a new game that they showed more about Knack. They showed a really cool video of a game called the Dark Sorcerer, which looked, it was really, I don't know what kind of game it is, but it started out, as like a fantasy game, and he's, casting this big spell, and then it becomes this really funny kind of like directing video movie scene, like they're an actor, and it just looked really cool. And I don't know whether that's a real game, but either way, it really showed off the power of the PlayStation 4 and the graphics, and I was incredibly impressed with what I saw. And I do have to say that the facial animation, the subtle emotions that were being played on the actual screen, it looked really good, and you could quite clearly see the difference in quality and power between the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. There haven't been any games on the Xbox One that I've seen that have just made me go, wow, that's next generation. And definitely Dark Sorcerer did that for me with the PlayStation 4. Whatever the game is, it did highlight just how amazing the new graphics are, and how we really have stepped up a level. So continuing on, so they showed another game called Transistor, which looked kind of cool, and they revealed the Final Fantasy 13 Versus is actually going to be released, and Final Fantasy 15, I think, and there's going to be a new Kingdom Hearts 3 that's going to come out. So that's really exciting news because I'm a super fan of the Kingdom Hearts games. I'm a huge fan of them. They showed a really interesting game called Rain, which looked really kind of interesting. A really cool game called Beyond Two Souls, which looks pretty interesting as well. Of course, they showed Gran Turismo 6. They showed Destiny. They showed more about the Bungie game, the new Bungie game called Destiny. They actually showed some gameplay footage of that, and it looks really sweet. It definitely has some elements of the Halo series in it, because of course it's a Bungie game, but it does look different. It does look unique, and it seems to be a cross between an MMO and a first-person shooter. FPS. So it looks cool, and I'm excited about that game. So there are a lot of original IPs that they showed, and then of course they showed tons of third-party games. They showed Elder Scrolls Online, which looks kind of cool, and they showed so many other games. They showed the new Assassin's Creed game. They actually showed some gameplay of that, and it looks good. I have to admit, the more I see, the more interested I am, but it doesn't look too different to Assassin's Creed right now. So I'm going to, you know, do more research on that and decide whether it's a game I want to buy, you know, on release or not. They showed, of course, Diablo 3 was there. GTA 5, of course, was there. They showed they're doing a new Mad Max game, which looked really cool and I'm excited for. They showed the new Watch Dogs game, which I am very interested in, and that game looks really awesome and really cool, and for sure I'm going to be buying that on release. It looks really wicked, and it seems that if you buy it on the PS4, apparently they said you would get an extra hour worth of gameplay, which is kind of cool. But yeah, that Watch Dogs game, like, it looked good. It looked really good. They showed more about the new Batman Arkham Origins game, which just looked so kick-arse and looks really good. And it looks like they're actually still maintaining the feel and look of, you know, the Arkham City and Arkham Asylum, but they're just stepping up, you know, they're improving it, which I'm so glad they're doing that, because the original games were so good, and, you know, if it's not broken, don't fix it. So yeah, it looked really great. So there's so many games that they actually showed at the conference. So many games, just game after game after game after game, just to get you really, really psyched. And then a really nice little section which they also did, which was really cool, was they had a nice little section where they actually talked about how PlayStation 4 is going, and Sony are really supporting, you know, independent game developers. You know, they're really, really embracing the indie scene, which is really awesome. And, you know, Sony is definitely superior, is much better than Microsoft with regards to this, because, you know, Sony really does allow you know, indie game developers to self-publish, and, you know, and gives them the respect that they rightly deserve. I feel like Microsoft just doesn't do that. They bring him into the Microsoft fold, but it becomes a Microsoft game rather than self-publishing. So Sony was really great. They had all these kind of like indie game developers, and I think maybe seven of them coming up on stage and actually like playing and showing their games. And one of the games that they had up there, which I'm playing at the moment and is so much fun, is called Don't Starve, and is really epic. And so it's just really awesome that, you know, more indie games are coming to the you know, the console scene, and that is really epic and really great. So I was super psyched about that. So yeah, so that's, you know, so much in terms of gaming. I'm not going to go into too much detail about these games. I will say that the games that I am super excited about and super interested in playing is Destiny. That looks great. The Order 1886 looked awesome. Killzone Shadowfall, surprisingly, I find myself excited about that game, because it's not usually my kind of game. Beyond Two Souls looks I really want to play. Watch Dogs, definitely. Batman Arkham Origins, definitely. Maybe the Final Fantasy, it depends. I felt Final Fantasy 13 was far too linear in its gameplay, so if they do improve on that, and it is less linear, then I'll consider buying that. Graphically it looked great, but it depends on the gameplay. So there are as you can see, there are so many games that I want to buy and play, and, you know, this is what I'm talking about for a console, going like, I have to play that game. That game looks so good. I have to play that game, and PlayStation just did that. Like, Sony just did that for me. So those are the games anyway. So that's the game part of the conference. The conference was really long. It was like 2 hours long. The other part that they, of course, had to talk about, and they got straight to it, and I was so happy when they did, is the hardware. So, of course, first they started off by pushing the new PS Vita. It's not new. By pushing the PS Vita, and, you know, they're talking about how in the next year, 85 more new titles are coming out, and they dropped many names, then games that were coming to it, like Batman Origins, they said, Killzone Mercenary, God of War HD Collection 1 and 2, Final Fantasy X, Final Fantasy X-2. So they were, like, you know, saying all these great games are coming to it, and they were talking about how it can be used, you know, with the PlayStation 4. But I feel like they lost a great opportunity here, in that I feel like the PS Vita should be discounted. it should be discounted. Or if maybe when you buy it with a PlayStation 4, they offer a special discount, because I think if they do that, they will be able to sell and shift a lot more of the PS Vita. So there was no news about a discount, but you know, stay tuned. Maybe that will become available at some point in the next several months or in the distant future. So anyway, yeah, so that's PS Vita, but I'm not so interested in PS Vita. So anyway, skipping on to that. PlayStation 4 hardware. They finally showed the actual hardware of the console. They showed what it looks like and the actual, you know, the main box. We've already seen the controller, but they actually showed the actual console. And I like it. I really like it. Like, I talked to other people, and other people were like, it's all right, you know, because it's just a black box. And, you know, I think other people want them to do something a bit different and a bit more adventurous. And, you know, they are pretty much playing it safe by just choosing, you know, two-tone black box. But, you know, I liked it. And it looked slim. You know, it looked much slimmer, and it looked a lot smaller than the Xbox One. I like the style of it, the slant and you know, the cut edges. And yeah, I just prefer the design of the PS4 compared to the Xbox One. The Xbox One is just, for me, it's too big. It's too bulky. It's just like a brick. And I just felt that the PlayStation 4 was much nicer, much sleeker, and would look a lot nicer, you know, in my living room with my DVD player and my cable box and everything else. So yeah, I like the console, the style of it. I think it was good and better than the Xbox One. Sony also revealed new information about the new PlayStation Plus. So they did say that they will be changing it with the new PlayStation 4 release, and that you will now have to pay a $5 monthly fee to access PlayStation Plus, which is different because previously it had been free, and I'm sure there are some people that are unhappy about that. But personally, like, I feel that's perfectly justified, and it's no more expensive than, you know, Microsoft, you know, Xbox Gold Live account, where you also have to pay about that each month, and you do get a lot of things that they said from it. So you will, of course, have access to the cloud. There will be special discounted games that are offered, and Sony are definitely better than Microsoft with regards to that. Often the games that they offer on the discounted sale are, you know, decent games and relatively new games, and usually within the first year of a game's release, at some point it will be in the sale for a reduced price. So that's exciting and should be absolutely fine. They also did say that in the first year of the PlayStation 4's release, that there will be one free download of a title each month. Which is really, really great. And of course, with the PlayStation Plus, you can access many other things like online gaming. You can access the cloud game. There will be instant game collection, I think they mentioned, which effectively is, you know, downloading games digitally online or getting access to them on the first day of release. And with the new Gaikai system, that will, of course, will support the downloading of, you know, PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, which apparently you can play. You can play those games streaming, so that sounds really good, because that's going to obviously save you a lot of space on your hard drive, and you're not going to have to install that game onto your hard drive. So that should be a lot more convenient. So yeah, the new PlayStation Plus looks pretty good, and with the new whole share function and the new emphasis on, you know, community based gaming, and it looks good. So yeah, that's the information on PlayStation Plus. And the key thing here, the big thing that they pointed to, and this bit of the conference was so good, so hilarious. Like, oh my god, like, it was just so funny and just kind of epic. Such a great sense of humor. And pretty much Sony just went through the list of all the things that Microsoft had said they were going to put restrictions on. They were like, yep, we're not doing that, we're not doing that, we're not doing that, we're not doing that. So the new PlayStation 4, used games are okay. So you can buy, play, sell used games. No problem, no restrictions. You don't have to be online to play. So you don't have to be connected online to play. They did say that the games are going to be disc-based, so you don't have to install them onto your hard drive. You'll be playing from, you know, the actual Blu-ray disc. You don't need to connect in, of course, every 24 hours. There's no need to authenticate and sign into anything and authenticate games. And they did say that you can share games freely with your friends. Actually, they even released a really funny they released an advert. So here is how you can trade in games with your friends.
This is how you share your games on PS4. Thanks.
PlayStation.
That's so funny. Freaking awesome. So yeah, like Sony's PR have been just legendary in this. They've been so good, and just such a great sense of humor, and like they just kicked Microsoft in the metaphorical balls, effectively. They were just like, yeah, no. So like it is funny that we're getting hyped about this, because like it just pretty much is the status quo now. Like nothing's changed for PlayStation 4, which is great. And it's just really funny that we're so excited that things are staying the same, which, you know, is good. Like I honestly, I was nervous when it got to this bit in the conference. I was very nervous, and I was just like, oh, please no, please do not do the same thing that Microsoft did, because like I was seriously concerned about the next generation consoles and what was going to happen with next generation, and I was really worried. And so you can imagine my relief and joy and happiness and so many things when, you know, Sony said no, we're not going to do that, and we're not following Microsoft in that in any respect. So good on Sony for, you know, sticking to their guns and sticking to their morals, and, you know, not going the way of kind of, you know, big corporations and only interested in money and whatnot. So well done, Sony, well done. So really great. So the last thing then, what is the price of the PlayStation 4? Well, they said that the price is $399. Yeah, $399 or £349. It is $100 cheaper than the Xbox One. I'm so surprised, because, you know, the PlayStation 4 has more advanced tech than the Xbox One. It's more powerful. It has better like RAM. Like I think its graphics card is better. It just is more powerful. So it's more expensive to build than the Xbox One, but it seems that Sony are taking a cut or something, and they're offering it for $399 on the day of release, which is awesome. Sold. So they didn't give a specific release date, which makes me a little worried, but they did say it is going to be released in a holiday season of 2013. So I'm hoping it's not too late after Xbox One, and that, you know, I'm hoping, you know, some people are not going to be like, well, I want a console now and I'm just going to buy the Xbox One because it's out. Don't do that, man. Don't do it. Look at the two consoles, and, you know, I think PlayStation 4 is a better console in every respect. The games that are on that console, it's more powerful, it's cheaper, it doesn't have the stupid restrictions that the Xbox One has. It's all about PlayStation 4, baby. So yeah, pretty much my mind is made up. I will be buying a PlayStation 4 when it is released. I'm probably not going to buy the first batch that comes out, just because when new hardware comes out, I always like to wait a couple of months, just because usually in those first batch there are issues and glitches and bugs, and, you know, heaven forbid, like, you know, the red ring of death. So I prefer to wait a little bit. And so I probably will end up buying it in 2014 once more of the games I want to play, you know, are released for it. But at some point I will be getting myself a PlayStation 4. So that is it. Those are my thoughts on the PlayStation conference. I think Sony did a great job, and the conference was really good. Super excited. Like after it, I was so excited and psyched. And, you know, the atmosphere you could feel in the crowd was so electric. Even just watching it online, it looked electric and it looked great. So well done, Sony. Well done. hat off to you, because you completely trounced Microsoft. And yeah, if I was an employee of Microsoft, I would be very nervous right now. So anyway, those are my thoughts on the PlayStation conference. So yeah, let me know, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, what did you think of the PlayStation 4 conference? Are you going to buy a PS4? What games are you super excited and psyched about? Have a great day, guys, and see you next time. Bye.